I'm Spencer. Welcome to my Floss Tube channel. To those of you who were willing to subscribe or really enjoyed my first video, which was my whip parade, I want to say a very big thank you. And to anyone and everyone else who is new, I want to say a very big welcome. My name is Spencer, and this is my Floss Tube channel where I primarily talk about cross stitch, sometimes crochet, and sometimes some other stuff too, but mostly it's cross stitch. I'm gonna be chatting today about the projects that I've worked on since my last video, which totals I think about 11 projects. And then I'll chat about some acquisitions and then some plans, finishing up with my crochet project that I've been working on since the last video. I am thrilled with the amount of progress that I've had in the last couple of weeks. The last time I filmed was early January. It was early December. It is mid to late January now. It is January 21st when I am filming. This is round 2. I had finished this entire video and then found out that my audio was echoing. So here we are again. Let's get started. The first project that I worked on since my last filming is the We're 6 project by Taylor and Cromwell. It was a kit that I received. I'll be popping up a photo of the finished mock-up and then my progress up until my first video last time. So it is a kit. It's on black Aida, stitched with the called for kit colors. They're all DMC. On Aida, I almost always stitch 2/1. So that's what I'm doing here. And this is the progress that I have on that project. Whoop. So I did in fact start this project at the top. I wanted to make sure I had enough room on the Aida that I got for the kit. So it is the cone of light that is a stage light or spotlight, and it is the complete one color until I get far enough down that I get to another color. So just a little bit more progress on this. I think I worked on it for 1 day since the last filming session. I put in 120 stitches on that project. I can't easily always tell you how many stitches I've done unless I take the time to do the math before each video, but today, because most of these projects have only been touched since the beginning of the year, my notions will tell me how much I've put in. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know in the comments below. I'd be super happy to do those numbers, but I didn't even think about it today until after I started filming, even for the second time. So that was We're 6. If I forgot to mention, that is designed by Taylor and Cromwell. I adore them. Love their designs. They'll pop up a couple times throughout both this video and most of my future videos as well. The next project that I worked on was the Pixel Dragon Adventure Stitch Along by Flossie Fox Shop. I am plotting away. Had release 2, but at this point release 3 has been released, so that's the photo that I'll pop up. Release 4 is coming soon, but I did put in a solid amount of progress on this project since the last time that you got to see it. It's nowhere near caught up. Like I said, I haven't even finished release 2, but I'm a lot farther than I was. This project is stitched on a 16 count. I'll double check that. Give me a second. A 16 count Aida by Mystic Fabrics. It's opalescent and the color is called Wisteria. So this is the progress that I have on this piece. I'll get nice and close in there. Some of this you've seen since last time. I did finish all of the outlines for part 2, so then I started coloring in because that's how I approach this stitch along specifically. I like to do the solid color outlines first and then do all of the fun stuff afterwards. I have put in, let's see, since 2024, so some of this was in 2023, but since 2024, I've put in another 600 stitches. Yeah, that's where I'm at so far. I have stitched on it 4 times since the beginning of the year. Additionally, since I worked on the bonus pattern that came when you pre-ordered this project, I'm going to go ahead and pull that out next, even though it may not have been what I worked on next because it's in the same bag. I didn't mention, but this is the same for both. I am stitching both of these with the called for DMC 2/1 as it's on Ada. Yeah, the bonus I'm stitching on the exact same fabric. Both of these pieces of fabric I actually had left over from my smalls exchange at StitchCon last year, and I'm thrilled that I had enough space to do both of these things on the leftover fabric. So this is the bonus that came from that Pixel Dragon stitch along. If you pre-ordered, you got access to this little cute bonus. And so here is my progress on that. Tiny little dragon you're starting to see come together, the little green and the wings, and a lot more outline and coloring kind of stuff taken care of there. So yeah, those are the first things that I worked on since that last video. The next thing that I worked on was actually a WIPGO call. I did decide to do WIPGO. I will chat about that in my plans section. I had not formulated my board during my WIP parade, plus my WIP parade was long enough. But I will chat about my board and my goals with that at the end of the video. So next thing I worked on was the Cunning Cross Stitch Magic Kingdom Stitch Along back from 2021. I worked on the first release because that's where I am. So the January release. I'll be popping up a picture of the finished project, and I will actually also pop up a picture of the January month specific. So that way it's easier to kind of see what I had been working on, what I was working on. I may pop up the February too, since I moved on to that section a little bit. This piece is on a fabric flare fabric. I just have to find it so I can get that information. It's Fairy Dust Blue and Pink. It's a 32 count even weave. And this is the progress that I have on that. So this was, as I mentioned, a WIPGO call. My WIPGO goal for this piece was to complete a full month's motif. I got lucky because I had already started January, and so I could just finish it rather than having to get into another month. But I did start on February, as you saw as well. I do have to decide if I'm going to backstitch that piece. The pattern only calls for a backstitched mouth with no eyes. I didn't love the look of that the first time that I stitched it. Last time I did outline to get a little bit better. I did backstitch to get a little better outline and definition of her body, because I did start and then restart on a different piece of fabric. So I just haven't decided on that yet. But yeah, so I met my first WIPGO goal, which is super exciting. The next project that I worked on is the other WIPGO call that I had for this month. And so that was on Father Christmas, the stocking. I'll pop up photos of finished mock-up and where I was last while I work on getting this together. I did forget to mention for Magic Kingdom, stitched 2/2 primarily. On that one, I did make her face 1/1 to make the skin section smaller, but primarily 2/2 called for DMCs. I had some adjustments to that pattern, but I didn't change any of the colors. I just shuffled some of the squares around. Anyways, this is Father Christmas, the kit by Busilla stocking. It is stitched 6-stranded with the kit floss. So here is where I am. The call for this month that I have, this is on my WIPGO board twice, is to complete the greenery and the berries that are at the top and bottom. There's a lot of color changes. The greenery itself has 3 greens in it. The berries have a couple of blends in addition to some color changes. It's just a lot of thread in smaller sections, but I did go ahead and complete all of the greenery itself. I still have the berries left to do, but like this center section was completely blank. I know I didn't have any of the greenery up top. I think I was missing some of the greenery along this edge, but I may be wrong. And I know for sure that I was missing the greenery down here apparently. Down here at the bottom. But yeah, so I put in a lot of effort on this project. Have not completed that goal, but I am going to. I do still have 10 days left to meet a January goal. I will be doing, my board, my rules, giving myself grace with my WIPGO goals to be yearly goals. My goal is to just have all of them completed by the end of the year. If I can get them done in the month they're called, that's fantastic. But I'm just gonna see if I can get my camera to focus a little bit better again. I think so. If I get them done early, which won't happen for most of my goals because of how I have them structured, but I will give myself the grace that if I meet the goal early, I can count it when it actually gets called. And I'm letting myself complete the tasks later in the year if I want to. So anyway, the next project that I worked on was my different project. As before, I'll be popping up photos of the mock-up and where I was the last time. As I mentioned, I'm doing WIPGO. I'm also part of a fandom stitching group. Natasha over at Bridges Get Stitches is the person who introduced me to it, but I know there's a lot of floss tubers are in it. This year, the fandom is Disney. I'm on Team Donald. Tasha is too. And they do weekly and monthly and yearly prompts to help guide your stitching. Here's where I am on this. I almost have all of the words finished, as you can see. I just have to get the flags done after this, so I'm really proud of all this progress. 2/1 on some black Ada. I don't know where I ordered it from. I don't know what the count is, and I don't want to do the math. But yeah, so that's this. The reason I mentioned fandom stitching is this one specifically, and I'm sure a lot of my others. I was working on weekly prompts for most of these projects. And the highest tier for weekly prompts is 300 stitches. So most of them I put at least 300 stitches on to meet that goal. I don't thrive in a SWEWE environment or a stitch what you want when you want environment. I like to be told what to do by some outside force, whether that outside force be WIPGO or a group or my husband. Yeah, that's just how I do things. The next thing that I worked on was the pumpkin frog piece, which is by Cute Patterns by Maria over on Etsy. And I've got it on some wood, on a wood cutout. I'm just gonna pop it right up here. Oh, turning the wrong way. So there you go. I just have this orange color left. There is quite a lot of it, but it's all fill-in at this point. It's mostly the outer pumpkin, and then there's a little bit in this cute little frog's hat that needs to get put in. So this was super fun to work on when I didn't want to have to think. I took it with me to the car place when I went to go get new car keys. I have a key fob, and you have to get those from the dealership most of the time if you want it to work appropriately. So we had to hang out while we were waiting for them to get that taken care of for us. And it was great to fill in. that is stitched 2/1 with called for DMC on laser cutouts. I can put the info down here where I got those laser cutouts. They were from Etsy. I just don't have that. I think it's Fiore Designs LLC. They had lots of different colors and a couple different sizes of wood circles that you could get. They are designed for cross stitch, so they don't have too much like catch. Yeah, they're nice for what they are. It's hard working on a solid object when you're used to having fabric which has some give to it, but it's really cool, especially because it's kind of essentially a built-in finish. Next project I worked on was called Woodland Storytime. That's the other stocking, the Busilla stocking that I have. I put in a lot of work on both of my stockings actually, but I'm extra proud of this one because I know, compared to the other two, the one that I have completely finished and the one that I've already shown you today, this one has a lot less work on it. And so I'm really proud of the progress. I'll have put up photos of what it's supposed to look like and where I was last time. What I've got is this. Let's go ahead and get that centered. Well, ish. Oh, come on. Some focusing. There we go. That's a little bit better. So what I did with this most recently is I finished up, there we go, finished up the mountain lion. There was a couple of color stuff that I had to get done at the bottom with the feet, and then a lot of everything else is up here in this tree. I completely put in that blue jay, all of the snow and the tree surrounding it. I got most of the raccoon done. You can see like that straight line down the middle of his face is because I haven't finished the white stitching on the other side of his face. Got some grays and Santa's beard and eyebrows and stuff. So I got a lot of work on this done. I'm just really proud. I love how these stitch up. This one is actually 4-stranded, not 6-stranded, which is always hard for me to adjust when I work between the two of them. But yeah, that's that project. The next one that I worked on was one of the mini stamps that I have. Mini in both ways. When I initially said it, I meant mini as an M-A-N-Y, because I have, I think, 10 or 11 patterns by the same creator, and a good number of the wood cutouts as well, but also they're small. They're mini, M-I-N-I. I just need to pull the needle minder off because these projects are so small that the needle minder takes up the entire space. This is the project Funny Halloween by Sweet Annette over on Etsy. I got all the wood cutouts from them as well. They have wood cutouts and plastic cutouts for these stamps if you don't want to stitch the outer edge, but the patterns also show, as you can see or would have seen in the mock-up, they've got the actual stitching in white if you just want to stitch on a regular piece of fabric and then backstitch. I will pop this on the little board because I found out last time that I can't center things very well when I don't. So this is that teeny tiny little stamp, Funny Halloween. I put in a ton of work on the blues primarily. There was a couple of holes in the ghost beyond where the eyes go, and I got all of those filled in except for where the eyes are going to go. But it was mostly just filling in the different colors of blues for that night sky. You can see a lot of those gaps. There's going to be some bats in those gaps. It's going to be real cute. But I somehow both chose to order and to start with the only pattern that I have of the ones that I ordered that has fractional stitches. Those bats are done with fractional stitches. And this is wood. And you can't easily do fractional stitches on wood. I have a plan for what I want to do, but I've been putting them off because I want to get everything else done first. But yeah, so that's Funny Halloween. Putting, I think, over 300 stitches on that. I'm pretty sure that was one of my Fandom Challenge ones. Yeah. One of the next projects that I worked on, I know I specifically pulled out for Fandom Challenge, although I think almost all of these were for Fandom Challenge, though I did choose to work some of my Fandom Challenge prompts for my WIPGO project so I could do both at the same time. Anyway, this was project on specifically a prompt that said to stitch with blue. So the one that I'm getting ready to show you is my over the garden wall pattern. I do unfortunately not know the designer of this pattern. I mentioned that in my WIP parade, but I specifically went looking for a project that was over the garden wall themed for a gift for a friend, and I found one that I really liked, along with a ton of other patterns that I'm pretty sure I all bought from the same spot. And then I don't remember, the whole reason I bought them is because I think they mentioned that they were taking their patterns down. And I went, oh, well, I'm going to buy all the ones that I want. And then I don't have any record of who they were from. Anyways, so you'll have seen the stuff while I was babbling on. So yeah, this is where I'm at. This is stitched on a piece of even weave called Nebula. I'm pretty sure it's 32 count. It's opalescent, in case you can't tell. There's lots of sparkles there. I'll grab you the fabric information in just a second. 32 count Lugana Mystic Fabrics called Nebula. So yeah, I got a lot of the blues done on, well, I was using only blue for the prompt, but I was working my way up. I did actually, when I started this piece, like start as close to the center as I could on the side. Because I wanted to make sure I had enough space, like top to bottom and all the stuff. And then I just ended up working down for whatever reason, and then across because the colors kind of change as you go up the piece. And so it looks like I did a bottom start, but I didn't. I'm just now working at bottom to top. But yeah, I'm working on that for a dear friend. She introduced me to the show. I watch it every fall now because of her. She is getting married in September. And so I've been thinking about her a lot beyond the normal amount that I like to think about her. I will probably not have this done by September, but when I think of her and I've got time, I like to work on it. I only have one more project left. So yeah, the last project that I worked on is another Taylor and Cromwell pattern. It is called Heroes, or I've called it Heroes. I don't know which. I got it from a subscription box through Taylor and Cromwell that was Tamara Pierce themed, who is an author who I dearly enjoy. This was the kit that came with that subscription box. I think all of their subscription boxes come with at least one kit. That subscription box also contained additional patterns, but I haven't started on any of them yet. The kit did come with Ada, but I wanted it to be on a different colored fabric. So this is the progress that I have. I put in a ton of work on this project. I finished up this dragon motif. The dragon's name is Chime. She's made out of glass and lightning, just for anybody who's interested. This quote, I'm sure you read it already, but it is going to read, "It's not just children who need heroes." So I did put in the "it's not just," kind of helped fill in some of these other letters a little bit more. You've got this random O all the way over here. And although this looks like a T, it's going to be the top of the H for heroes. This is probably one of the smallest projects that I have beyond the stamps and the stamps, that frog pumpkin, and obviously the pixel dragon bonus. So I think I broke over 50% with the stitches that I put in on this in the last couple of days. I used it for at least 2 prompts in the Phantom Stitching Central, so I got in over 600 stitches. And I adore the piece. I love the fabric. I love the quote. The fabric is a cut of 32 count linen by Fiber on a Whim in a color called Cypress. It's a nice green. I'm not sure that captures very well on camera. My Minnesota light is fading, as I did attempt to shoot this earlier and then have to re-record. And I do not have a ring light yet. But even my pictures don't capture it well because Most of my progress photos are because I like to, as my good friend Tasha at Britches Get Stitches likes to say, I like to show you what I stitch when I stitch. So I take progress photos just at the end of the night. And so they're not staged and they're not fancy or anything like that. But those are the 11 projects that I put progress in since the last time that I got to see you. I want to talk about a little bit of haul after I grab a sip of water. I do not plan on being a big haul person. I am not subscribed to any fabric of the month or floss of the month. I am trying to save some money this year. I'm going to StitchCon 2024. My friend's wedding is coming up and we need money for travel. My husband and I are hoping to take a train out to Jersey where the wedding is. And that all of that's going to be money. But although I say that, it has been Christmas since I actually recorded last, so I got a couple of things for Christmas, and then I fell into a couple of things that I couldn't say no to. I'm not going to show everything today, but I'll at least talk about the stuff that I've got. First thing that I did get, my husband got me this really, really cute, tiny little mushroom cross-stitch kit that he popped in my stocking, which was super duper sweet and adorable. My husband and I didn't do Christmas gifts for each other this year. Again, dollars. We bought a house. We were busy, doing adult things with our money, and we didn't have a lot of money to splurge on gifts, but we stuffed each other's stockings in addition to the gifts that my parents got for our stockings. So that's super cute and adorable. Meanwhile, my little sister did get me gifts. I got her gifts. And she took a photo of one of my cats, of Philip, and ran it through a cross-stitch converter. I'm pretty sure she used Stitch Fiddle. And then not only made the project and the pattern, but also bought all of the threads. She did decrease the number of thread colors, so that way she would not be purchasing a ton of colors and I wouldn't have to use a ton of things. That, of course, changes some of the colors of the image, which, in general, I wouldn't mind, but I have a couple of objects in that image that I would prefer to be a little bit closer to true color. I'll pop up a photo of her conversion right now. That blanket in the bottom corner is supposed to be like a bright purple, which isn't anywhere else in the piece. So when you decrease the number of colors, it changes that. So I took the same photo that she used and ran it through a converter as well. And I'm kind of going to mash the two together. I'll pop up my version right here that's like max color version. I think that how the cat is done, including some of the changes that she made, she kind of accentuated his whiskers a little bit. She changed the color of his eyes so they were more accurate. I think I'm going to do all of that based off of her pattern. And then just some of the background stuff, I may shift some of the colors based off of what I've got on mine. So I will be starting that eventually. The other thing that I did get, and I will be getting fabric for, I have ordered it, it's just not here yet, is a piece called the Mini Pixel Cartoon Hero Cross Stitch pattern. I'll pop up a photo right here. It's Disney Heroes in the shape of Mickey's ears. That is by L Cross Stitch on Etsy. L-E-L Cross Stitch on Etsy. That piece is being used for a stitch along and Phantom stitching, and so I'm going to be working on that at some point for some points. The creator also has one that's villains. It just didn't speak to me, so I didn't want to grab it. And when the fabric gets in here, I will chat about that when it shows up. Additionally, I did purchase a large number of the Disney-based patterns from Abby Sue Designs. She did make an announcement recently that she was going to be taking down the trademarked inspired pieces from her shop and transitioning more to original designs primarily. And I knew there was a ton on there that I wanted to have access to. It's been in my favorites for a while, so I kind of went through and did kind of a shop haul and took a lot of those patterns because I wanted them to have them for later. I have no idea when I want to stitch them, but I wanted to have them before they were gone. The last thing that I purchased is a stitch along because you guys know how great I am at sticking to those. That's being hosted by Taylor and Cromwell for 2024. It is a board game stitch along. I'll pop up photos of the released frame. For those who are in the board game circles, you'll recognize that this frame is very based on the Settlers of Catan board, which is just a ton of hexagons that are lined up together. And I'll also pop up a photo. They've got a teaser out of one of the board games featured. That board game featured is Pandemic. And what the point of the stitch along is that each individual board game will be a tile that fits into that board. I'm pretty sure that they're planning on releasing the center tile first. And then all of the remainder tiles will be able to be placed at the stitcher's discretion. There's no requirement on where they go, which is kind of really cool. My husband and I love board games. I think between the two of us, we got 6 or 8. Board games. We get dice games, card games, all of those things. I think that we got 6 or 8 games for Christmas between gifts in the stockings and gifts from our family. So we'll definitely have a designated gaming room at some point in our lives. And when I get done with this piece, I am super excited to frame it and hang it up. It'll be big. I think it's like over a foot and a half, give or take. It is stitched. I'm going to be stitching it on the recommended fabric by Witch's Garden Crafts. I'll definitely tell you more about it once it actually gets here. But it's 28 count. And stitched over 2 because there's fractionals. So it's going to be pretty big. And I can't wait for that. Yeah. So those are acquisitions. Time to chat about plans. And as Marjorie Maid likes to say, hopes and dreams, because I think that that's a great way to phrase it. I mentioned that I made a WIPGO board. I'm going to pop mine up over here. I will probably have it up for most of the time that I'm talking about this, just that way you can reference. I may overlay it or pop up the projects that I'm talking about, probably the mock-ups of the final projects, just that way you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But I'm going to run you through my WIPGO before we get out of here. I am just going to go across, so the numbers are read left to right. Top to bottom. So we'll just go 1 through 25. My first one is that Heroes project that I just put away. And my goal for that is to put in at least 200 stitches or get 2 words done or 2 motifs. I'm going to be super flexible with myself, let myself choose which goal speaks to me the most at that time. And as I mentioned before, if I meet the goal prior to the calling of the space and I want to count it as complete, I will allow myself that grace. And that doesn't count for most of them because a lot of them it's like put in 1%, and I don't just mean 1% over the year, I mean 1% since it's called. Probably I may be flexible with that too, I don't know. But anyways, so that's that one. My next one is my Outlander bookshelf. My goal is to put in 1.5% or a full motif on that project. Whatever speaks to me more or feels easier or the right amount of challenge that I want at that time. My Over the Garden Wall piece, my goal is to finish a full color or put in 300 stitches. I'm pretty sure that a lot of my colors are right about 300 stitches, so it's kind of a wash. Everything except for the black. I'm leaving the black for last. But yeah, the Little Mermaid, the Thomas Kinkade Disney Dreams, Little Mermaid piece I'd like to put in a full % on. My Supernatural 2021 Mystery Stitch Along. My goal is to get either 2 of the words fully complete or 3 of those smaller motifs. I'm not counting that center motif. I mean, it's a motif, but I don't expect to finish that. That may be the last thing that I work on. I'm going to move some of these smaller motifs around. I have a couple that I want to add in as well. So I've got a lot of things to work on with that. For the Evolutions Cafe, my goal is to finish an entire Evolution. Maybe without the black. I am going to outline it all at some point, but I think I was leaving the black for the end. My Supernatural 2020 Stitch Along, which I don't think that I have a mock-up of, but I'll pop up at least my progress photo. My intention is to chart some angel wings for the top of this piece. So my goal for that is to get them charted. And then if I've got enough time and energy, or depending on where it's called in the year, actually get them stitched. Because after I get those stitched, I will have a finish on that piece. My woodland story time is actually on here twice, but the first time it's on here, it's to complete 2 full animals. There's a lot of small animals. There's a lot of really big animals. I like the opportunity to kind of pick my own challenge. Technically, at this point, I have almost already completed that if I wanted to count it complete already. Not that I'm planning on it, but that may give me some more flexibility to focus on one of the bigger animals and then say, oh, I finished one of the other ones already. My Magic Kingdom Stitch Along, which we already discussed, I did have a goal for that, and that goal was to just complete one of the months of the Stitch Along, which I did this month, so that's fantastic. On my Pixel Dragon bonus, my goal for that is just to finish. It's such a small piece. I just want to make sure that that's done before the end of the year. My next one is to just do half of one of the stamp patterns, or finish one if I have less than half to go. Flexibility with that. I didn't say which one it was because I don't know where I'll be on those. And maybe if I have like only a quarter of one left to go, I'll either start a new one and get halfway, or I'll finish the one that I have, but also try to put some solid work into the next one. My different project, my goal is to put half of a pride flag in, which also means that I need to finish the words because I want to finish the words before I start the pride flags. But that'll be super exciting. I did not have something in my free space until Christmas, but since I got that new pattern of my cat from my sister, my free space is to start that project. My Tale as Old as Time Stitch Along, my goal is to just put 500 stitches in. I don't even have the frame complete, and so it would just be nice to keep making progress on that. The Middle Earth Stitch Your Own Adventure is similarly just put 500 stitches in. The first monthly release has come out. I think my husband and I have discussed it. We know what the plan is with that one, but I need to finish the Hobbit hole first. My next one is to kit up if I haven't already, and then start the Disney Heroes, which I just showed you the mock-up of. And I'd like to get at least 2 of those main characters finished, or put in some of the tiny motifs in the background. There's little ones floating back there. My road so far, I will see if I have a mock-up of it or a photo of it. I'll pop something in. I'll grab one if I don't. I want to go ahead and get that started, and put 200 stitches in. My Tamara Pierce Stitch Along, I would like to put in 500 stitches or finish 2 of the motifs. There's great variance in size of those, so that'll be flexible and interesting depending on how I'm doing. Weir 6, my goal is just to make it to a different color. Since I started at the top and it's all one color until you hit a certain point, I just want to make it there. Or if I've made it to another color, my goal is at least 200 stitches. The Pumpkin Frog, my goal is to finish and fully finish. So that's going to be my fully finish is just going to be putting some felt on the back. I've got stands for it already. Actually, I have the tiny little stands right here. Look, they're so cute. Anyways. So yeah, that's my goal for the Pumpkin Frog. Father Christmas is on here twice. The one has already been called. It's finishing that greenery at the top and the bottom in addition to those berries. Started on it, have not actually completed it yet. The other one is to finish the toe motif that's at the bottom. That section that says, I think, Merry Christmas. You'll be able to read it because it'll be over here. But I want to get that scroll work and all of the background stuff. I will do all the back stitching at the end. I will not be doing that right away, but I want to have everything prepped for it. Second time Woodland Story Time is on here. Same thing, stitch 2 animals completely. I do also have an alternative for this one, or get 600 stitches of background. So that's going to depend on when it's called and what I want to be working on. I was really called to work on that tree this most recent time, so we'll see. And clarification for that, Santa does count as an animal. If I want to go above and beyond, we can knock out all of Santa. Last 2, the one is the Grim Grinning Ghost Stitch Along. I have put 50% of a room in. That is probably one of the bigger goals that I have on here, but I do really enjoy that piece, and I think it's really, really fun, and I just have a tendency of not working on it. Every time I get it out, I love it, but It's always getting there. So I want to get half of a rim done. And then my Pixel Dragon Adventure stitch along. And my goal on that one is to fully fill in 3 of the motifs that have been outlined, or to get a full color outline completed for whatever section I'm actively working on. So that's my WIPGO board. The other thing is I'm going to be participating in that fandom stitching group, trying to complete challenges on that. Those are my only main big goals. I do love to watch Marjorie Maid and do Pick a Whip if something speaks to me, along with everything else. I like to play along with that when I have the opportunity to, but those are the big goals and hopes and dreams that I have for those things. The only other thing that I have to chat about is crochet. For those of you who watch my WIP parade, you know that I'm working on a cow print blanket for a colleague. It is, in fact, right there. Been there the whole time. It is now too big for me to easily lift in front of the camera, and it's attached to bobbins because that's how I do C2C. I have the whole skein of yarn just hanging there while I work it. I am on row 50. I'm pretty sure of 150. 75 is my halfway point, so it should be 150. So I'm a third of the way there, row-wise. I'm 2/3 of the way to halfway, because when you work a blanket corner to corner C2C, the halfway point is when you hit the full length and width of the blanket. Well, because I'm doing a square, the halfway point is the full length and width. Depending on if you did a rectangle, you would hit the full length earlier and then the width later, or the other way around. But yeah, so once I reach that halfway point, all I have to do is make literally the other half of the blanket, as the triangle will continue to get smaller. So that's going really well. I'll pop a picture in of where it looks on my couch right now, not like that, but spread out the other way so you can see it from the top. But I won't be holding it up until that's finished. But yeah, those are all of the things that I've been working on. I want to say thank you to everybody who decided to stick around for this, for anybody who already subscribed, for anybody who's interested in subscribing. It's great to get to know all of you, to chat in the comments, to grow this little circle that I've got going on right now. I love watching people's progress on their Instagrams. You can come follow me on Instagram. I love watching Floss Tubes and seeing some of your guys' stuff on that stuff. It's just great to be a part of this community and to have people to talk to about such fantastic projects that we all kind of sort of love. I am going to try to film at minimum once a month. It may be 2 weeks since the last filming. It may be 5. Sometimes you may get 2 a month, but the baseline goal is 1 a month. And no specific schedule, because if I try to, something's going to go terribly wrong every time that I would try, I'm sure. That's the big stuff. I want you guys to remember that every stitch counts. So don't worry if you only have time for 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or hundreds, if you're one of those fantastic people. And remember, even when you have to take them back, every stitch still counts. It's just a little bit of a longer time to get to the end sometimes. But it was great getting to chat with you all today. Thank you again for coming by and spending this time with me. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.